What the fuck are y'all doing? Explain. Explain.
Making the mother of all omelets here, Jack. Can't spread over every egg.
What's your pleasure? What's your fear? Nothing else? Are you good? Are we good? Only the one? I'm kind of proud of you. That's oh no, never mind. You're blowing yourselves up again. Okay. Okay. How are you doing, chat? How was your Tuesday? Your Tuesday, if you will.
Wake the fuck up, samurai. We have a city to burn.
All right, time to execute my trick. Oh, what's...
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
Are you done? Are you
There's our
done?
man. There's our man. There's our boy.
It's ours? God damn it. All right, have y'all run through the redeems? Are you good? Are we satisfied? Make an announcement. It's not your announcement. The make an announcement is to make me make an announcement. And then 20 squats. All right, might as well do the squats now while y'all go through all the redeems. Every single one of them. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. All right. Ah. Why are y'all like this? Why are y'all like this? Ah! And I know that's the one that Queens wanted the most. Fuck. Ugh. Okay. This is an interesting way to start a stream. Why are y'all like this? Why are y'all like this? Booyah, baby. God damn it. Okay, Cyborg. Hi, B. Also, hold on. I need to, you reminded me. Just seeing you reminded me of a thing. And no, it actually doesn't involve you. I just remembered a thing, though. I did not get an answer from a particular someone yesterday, so send another message. Hi, sugar. You made us like this? What do you mean? Most of you I haven't got to mold yet. All right, I still need to figure out a compliment. Oh, Jesus. Has anybody been writing down the compliments I've been giving myself? Because apparently we decided that they need to be new ones every single time. This is the community you founded? I suppose that's true. A community of sickos and weirdos that I couldn't be more proud of. None of those fake ones either. Define fake ones. Define fake ones. I'm glued to the ceiling. I can't do shit. And you're going to stay glued to the ceiling, Hyper. Why can't you be normal? Ah! Proud, not what it seems like. When we fail the iPads, true. That is deep and utter disdain. Oh shit, guys! Thank you for the level 2 hype train. Do I need to start being meaner to y'all? Is that what needs to happen? Do I need to start being meaner to y'all and calling y'all out for being little weirdos? The ones we send you for using before, where it's not really a compliment. Oh, okay, I got you. Like one of the backhanded compliment ones. I'm doing really good on not spending money going out to eat. Chat, I had a bad habit, like a really bad habit, of going out to eat frequently. Let's go with the word frequently. I don't mean like multiple times a day, but like a good 5 days out of the week. And I haven't gone out to eat since... It hasn't been that long, but it's still longer than I've done before. You're good at spending money and bad at eating? Well, no, basically what I'm going to try to be doing from now on, if I do like buy like prepackaged foods or anything, it has to be at like the grocery store. And I'm not going to go to like a restaurant or try and like swing through the gas station or something. I grew up evangelical. You can't possibly be more mean than the old church ladies I used to deal with. Are your pants too short? I can see your fucking ankles, Bob. Progress is progress. It counts. Yeah, I was gonna say, it's mostly for saving money, because there's sometimes I would go to a place, like my favorite food hall, and I would spend $30 for one meal, and I don't want to do that. Mainly because I want to save it for advertising on other websites. Sarah's a Jewish grandmother? Oh no. Oh no. I flash my ankles like the whore I am. And the Jinko jeans? Disgusting. Disgusting. What do you mean rock bottom? I could be much lower. I could be much lower. Strip, god damn it. God damn it. We're the sluts of the carnival with our ankles out? Oh my god. Big spending for a while now. Upgraded my PC, but maybe Baron will let me come play too? No. No. Where's camo cartridge? Oh. Oh, I know the exact cargo shorts you're talking about. Oh no. Yes, I know you can go lower and I'm leaving if you try. Okay, so I shouldn't start doing ASMR. Got it. Add that to the list of things I'll never do. All right, we're never doing ASMR again, chat. Shit's never happening. Not once, not ever. Baron thrives on making me cry. I thrive on making a lot of people cry. How else do you think the carnival keeps running? Doesn't like to game with her chat? I mean, when we do community days, I'm totally down. No, this not all this sugar. No. Except if lots of money came in, you'd have to convince me like per stream. Give us the ghoul SMR. What would that be? What kind of ghoul are we talking? VTM ghoul or like ghoul from like general Halloween stuff where it's just like a weird drone-ish zombie? So do you just want like 3 hours of me just going into the fucking microphone? VTM ghoul gets scratchy. Scratchy? Oh, you mean like how they act like drug addicts sometimes? Like they're on withdrawals? I was thinking alcoholic depressed cowboy ghoul. How was I ever supposed to come to that same meeting with you unless you told me? I forget the carnival runs on tears and suffering. I'm starting to think I need to be meaner to y'all. I think y'all deserve to be talked down to more. Your A's will never be M, S, or R on carnival grounds? Correct. Correct. Oh, they've been Fallout Ghoul naming? Uh-oh. Oh, they were talking about the ghoul from the TV series, weren't they? Okay, that checks out. That checks out. We've been telling you that for centuries. That's not how you spell centuries. Centuries. You basically misspelled the gun turret century except without the S. We might need a stern disciplinary action? Christ. Maybe I do need to add the jump scare redeems for myself. Also, donate to the wheel so we can make Marin play your games. True. Actually, do we want to add Little Nightmares 1 to the wheel? I could do that. We'll finish through Reanimal first before I decide if I want to play add Little Nightmares to the wheel. It's a hard word, is it? Sunstar is also English. The originator of the English language. British. Disgusting. Disgusting. Gotta play all the games. I mean, we have a pretty thick list on the wheel. Let me see here. Close you. Open new one. Oh, no, wait, did I click? Oh, no, I clicked open. Okay. I clicked Wheel of Punishment again because I'm an idiot. Bounty game wheel. That's the one I was looking for. I mean, we've got like 40 games on here. Yeah, and also dyslexic and just generally stupid. Okay. English is 3 other languages in a trench coat. You know it? Oh, yeah. Well, it's more like 6 languages in a trench coat. Let's see. Of course, Old English. French, German, Latin. What else is there? Oh, what other languages are in modern English? Let's see. Old Norse, there's 5. That's kind of it. That's kind of it, aside from here and there words from like Greek, Dutch, Spanish, and Celtic. But yeah, when we hit the 500 mark on the thing, we will spin the wheel and I will be forced to play one of these games. If we originate the language, then we get to decide what spelling is correct or something, maybe. I don't know. I don't think that's how it works. That you're supposed to standardize language. Norse born in 1990X? Christ. By saying Romance languages? No, I wanted to list the languages. The Dutch are to blame. Grab ordained for making us illiterate. Oh, all right, get him. Get his ass, chat. All right, let me go back to having the Wheel of Punishment. There we go. Oh my god, I overindulged again? 7 whole days? 7 whole streams, Bertle? That's crazy, dude. Smo chat, Smo. All right, go shake your ordains, chat. We got the go-ahead. Summon the army. What do you mean by that? Why are you summoning the army? I'm confused. What does that mean? Explain. Chat? Hello? Chat? You there? I can't make like the tap on glass sound, just the hello? Are you there? Chat? Damn, can't believe chat's dead. You found oil? Who found oil? What do you mean by that? So yeah, I found out the direct descendants of Confederate soldiers are getting tax exemptions in my state until a recent law got passed. Huh? What? Okay, hold on. I want to know about that. What? Hi, Angel. Need to get the tink tink tink. I mean, hold on a second. I got you. Close enough, eh? Hi, dragon. The moth wind of giving, yeah. Something about summoning the army or resident of Burgerland that only means someone found oil? Oh, I got you. Oh, of course it didn't. Part of the failure of the shit we're dealing with in the United States now is because we didn't punish the Confederacy. They basically just got away. Yeah, we burned some shit and we killed a bunch of their soldiers. Their wealthy dudes basically got away in their lifetime scot-free. Thinks AI will help birth rates? Fucking how? Fucking how? I want to see the connections that woman can make. AI will help birth rates, huh? Hopefully you're cutting them down? Yeah, probably. Fucking probably. Hold on, let me look that up. I want to look that up because, like, there's no way you have an interview and the reporter doesn't go, how? Birth rates. Well, this is an r/technology post. A Kotaku article. The new head of Xbox is worried about birth rates, but says AI will save us. Okay, apparently the particular interview that she said this in was like 5 months ago. Big Tech's obsession with birth rate figures is something that should certainly make you feel uncomfortable. Yes, because it's weird. And the only explanation they could ever fucking give is because, oh, but the workforce is going to shrink. Oh, so you're going to make less money? Fucking good. Grow up, Shannon. In an interview on a podcast from 5 months ago, saying that the thing she thinks about the most, other than GPUs, is whether her son, quote, will have classmates in the future. This is because she says, quote, fertility rates are declining. The average birth rate in the 90s when we were growing up was like 3, and now it's 2.3, which is still above the replacement rate, Shannon. Actually, her name's not Shannon. I don't know why I keep it's Asha. Asha Sharma. Shannon just feels like an ambiguous name that I can yell at. Where was I? And in 2050, it's estimated to be below replacement. Okay. Are you gonna have a son who's still a child by 2050, girl? That's a you problem. Strange in its own, also completely wrong, but her next words make it far weirder. I think that AI can have such a big effect on it and already is. How? Sharma goes on to give examples of this, like how she's heard about a hospital in London that's using AI to improve fertility success of IVF, the amazing story of how ChatGPT-5 is helping in healthcare, and how Stanford was a big customer of hers using AI for tumor reviews. Asha, they didn't use ChatGPT for that. That's different. That is completely different types of AI. Oh my God. I think she doesn't know the difference. I genuinely think she doesn't know the difference. I want to play in traffic. Yippee! 2 times a week, I would throw myself off a roof. Are following the general feeling of hope of young people since most young people are childbearing age? People feel pretty hopeless right now and feel like, yeah, exactly, Bon. No point in the future than not having kids, giving them something to work for and look forward to that might change. Yeah, if you're actually, hi. Oh my God, why did I brain fart on your, I looked at the new name and I was like, old name. But then I forgot the old name. And then my brain was like, what did we call it for? Oh, Mephi, that's right, there we go. There we go, those are the words. Hi, hyena bitch. With the balloon titties, yes. Buzzwording should be illegal? No, because that's just irritatingly controlled speech, and then you end up with like newspeak from 84. Hyena bitch, that's me. I knew it. Balloon titties wear beef? No, go to your room. Okay, hold on. That was that section. Scroll down a bit. Of course, the reason for declining birth rates in the US is multifactorial, but almost certainly primarily about income. In the affluent 90s, people felt confident about being able to afford 2 or 3 children, but in the 2020s, that's a far more costly prospect. If people in big tech are genuinely concerned about the number of children being born, their attention would be wholly focused on making American lives more affordable, providing better benefits and supports, and increasing wages. And not, say, on replacing workers with ineffectual AI while driving industries that rely on paying low incomes. Sharma's numbers are way off as it happens. The fertility rate wavering between 1.9 and 2.0 in the 90s and hasn't been close to her claimed 3 since the mid-60s. It dipped as low as 1.6 after steadily declined following the financial crash of 2008, but in recent years has begun to recover. It is back up to 1.8 in 2025, so in fact a difference of 0.1 since Sharma's headway of baby births. But to put everyone's mind at rest regarding these empty classrooms, as it turns out, we don't just distribute however many children are around into the certain number of classrooms. That'd be a weird system. So even if birth rates were suddenly halved, we'd just have fewer schools, stupid. Am I really explaining this to the head of the Xbox? Xbox is gonna get worse, isn't it? Xbox is for sure gonna get worse. Okay. Yeah, she's gonna be the new CEO of Xbox soon, TM. You and the government want me to have children, then you pay for them, do all the hard shit then? Yeah, but they won't. They won't. Woman in the UK suing Steam, suggesting we're losing out because DLC purchased on Steam couldn't be used on other platforms or other dumb things. People just can't think, I swear. They call it a monopoly when the only reason Steam seems like a monopoly to these people is 1, because they're stupid, and 2, because they're greedy, and 3, because Steam is just better, loser. Also, I probably feel like I'm calling people losers a lot. It's kind of because they are. Because the people with all the money trying to get more money, doing stupid shit with stupid products, makes them a fucking loser. This just in, butter chicken is fucking good. That's all. You are correct. Butter chicken is fucking fantastic with garlic naan. Sadly, that is the whitest person Indian order I have ever seen. It's still good though. I won't blame you. I won't blame you. But now we'll survive until the Dia de los Muertos. Oh no. It's Monopoly shit. Sorry, you're right. Now roll the dice and please get snake eyes so I can send your ass to jail, stupid bitch. I love to say this team is, 100%. 100%. I mean, did y'all hear about the Steam versus the Rothschild troll patent situation? One of the Rothschild kids owns, I say kids, he's a grown adult, like in his 50s or 60s, owns a troll patent farm, which basically means they buy a whole bunch of patents. Yes, they did. I'm going to talk about it. Owns a whole bunch of patents that just like nobody owned at the time. And then they sue companies to make their money, hoping these companies will just fucking pay them so that they don't have to go to court. The thing is, though, Steam had bought those patents into perpetuity in like 2016, 2017 from the Rothschild company. So they show up in court and Steam is just like, we already have permission for this. These people are just stupid. And the judge was like, Ah, yeah, paperwork's all here. Get the fuck out of my court. Why do they think they'll win against Steam when it's apparently better than any other platform? That's just it. There's so many right now trying to bring like monopoly clauses against Steam. And what I genuinely think the reason is because so many companies have invested in creating their own launcher, like Blizzard, the Origin system, EA, any of those things. They all invested like in the 2010s and before like COVID and stuff into having their own launcher and are so upset right now that they flopped because their games are shit. Because their games are shit. In Lord Gaben we trust. And so now, years later, they have no new games that can pull players. And the only option for these companies now, instead of using their own launchers that they spent millions of dollars to produce, are forced to sell them on Steam. And they're butthurt they don't get all their money. Because once again, companies are baby back bitches who see you not as a person, but as a wallet holding their money just waiting to be taken. I wish I was joking. I've heard 2 different CEOs basically say that. And if you go to anything that's like earnings calls or like business conferences or anything, you will hear them say the most heinous shit about their customers. I fear how fast Steam will collapse. Apparently, Gabe's son is very much on board with his vision. Oh, Steam damages that. Why they filed a false suit and did so using lawyers who used AI for their case, precedent generating quotes that wasn't associated with the cases quoted. They fucking hallucinated cases. I cannot believe it took more than a single case finding out that using AI programs for especially court cases, that it just hallucinates cases, that people still try to use it. And like ignorance at that point is just a failure on your part. Do you not like see the news in your like career fields? Is that not something people do? The maybe it'll work for us meme? Fuck that. Your hands and your eyes are better than any generative AI out there. I feel like Steam won't collapse easily. Their own staff believe in the system and want it to live. Their vision is shared with everyone. Exactly. Gabe is not set of scaffolding. The man has built a concrete tower. It would take Steam going public for it to collapse. And having like a hostile buyout. And I don't think they're ever going to go. They're not public, right? I'm pretty sure Steam's not a public company. It's always the thing when companies go public is when they get gutted or bought out by other companies. Nope, good. Keep it that way. Fucking keep it that way. I mean, many of the reasons that a lot of the game companies that we liked as kids and went downhill or just absolutely shit the bed on some of their franchises was because they went public. And investors know fucking nothing about making games. If anybody remember the my substitute word for the R word, the word is ridiculous. These people, investors, when it comes to investing in games and forcing decisions onto developers, is ridiculous. Please and thank you. Usually end up in the gutters. Exactly. I want to fight the Gen AI fuckers right now. Fucking open AI CEO saying energy is better used on AI than humans. I mean, the guy who owns OpenAI actively hates humanity anyway. He's a misanthrope. Ugh. Peter Thiel himself has also said he wouldn't care if the human race was wiped out. Oh my goodness. We won't get a second Ghostwire, sadly, because they killed the studio. Yes, Tango Ghostworks is dead. But companies do still own the IP, and they could theoretically still be tossed around if Ghostwire, this one, got some more attention. I don't like any of these boobs. Oh my god. Is that boobs the derogatory? Like, what's her name from Drake and Josh? Megan from Drake and Josh? Where she calls them boobs all the time? Who owns OpenAI? Humans are just wasting resources because just imagine the amount of food and electricity one person needs to become an adult in comparison to using AI for doing the task. What does that mean? For getting somebody to become an adult? Wait. Or is he saying to get somebody to become an adult to do a job? Rockstar is doing better than others? Probably because of the investment money. Ghostfire to the moon? Hell yeah. Yes, exactly. They would rather everyone else die, suffer, or waste away in squalor. Less resources than a person? Except it doesn't. It doesn't. A single AI data center uses more water than an entire city in a single day. Hold on. The entire city uses, and I think it's like a month. It's like a month and some change. It's a little bit too specific of a number in a single day, and then pollutes the air around it with both noise and, of course, exhaust, cooling processes, etc., and its runoff. Calories is measurable energy value, so is a resource use. So get AI there. Ugh. I'd rather see a generative AI die, collapse, burn out, and every single person that built it up to essentially be nothing more than a bubble or a pyramid to skim the money off of the lower classes should go to jail. Or better yet, quartered in the town square. Fantastic. As much as the next person, but those are the things you keep on the inside? No, those are the things that you realize is a heinous take to have. Because one, you are in fact human. Two, majority of anybody with like major intelligence is basically human on this planet. Sure, go ahead. Tell the human population that you think it would be better off if they died off. See how fast you get pulled out of your house. I also think it's funny, too, that billionaires keep making bunkers. Pops in the economy will collapse? Okay. Okay. Hey, chat, do you know what one of the greatest, what's the word? The greatest motivator for revolution is? And I mean the ones that are more likely to be successful. There's a lot of things that it could be. It could be just mild dissatisfaction. It could be certain laws in the case of like France, where people riot and try to force things. In the case of major countries that have major regime changes, in the case of citizen-led regime changes, it's economic collapse. It's economic collapse. And for my money, if we had full economic collapse and a revolution took over, I'll be damned if I'm going to let any of the current politicians have any seat of power. Every single one of them will be disallowed from holding office ever again. Even though you know for a goddamn fact you're going to get one of those like pompous assholes from like that are basically like the faces of like say the Democratic Party in the US. So you're gonna get like Chuck Schumer and like Nancy Pelosi and stuff all like waving on stage being like, we did it, guys, we won, it's time to go back to how it was 2 years ago. And it's like fucking stupid. Which is why, should there be a revolution, nobody should allow them to step on stage, have a microphone, or continue to be any sort of leadership in any degree whatsoever. We're losing privacy, we're burning our country for AI, leaving nothing for the people? Correct. Especially not the ones who are backed by rich folks? Correct. It's time for a workers' revolution. Talks about hiring Navy SEALs / Special Forces to guard their bunker in case it collapses, to which the first question should be, how will you pay them if money is worthless? Yeah. That's like some of the things is if you see like the layout of some like billionaires, like new bunkers that they've been building, they have servant quarters. Which means, and I wish I was joking, this is how you know these people have like no brain matter. They only have money. They expect an apocalypse happens. They're invited into to be a servant or employee inside of a bunker to some rich billionaire whose money is now completely worthless and is likely one of the most insufferable people on the planet. They're dead. They're just dead, my dude. I'm gonna say something unhinged. If I found a job listing for something like that with an apocalypse happening, I'd be in there with the full intent to kill that motherfucker. That's just my most unhinged take. If I got that job, the first thought in my head would be, would those doors close? Would those doors close? I'm gonna start conniving. I'm gonna start conniving with everyone. Crime Brulee. Oh shit, 80 stream streak? Damn. Speaking of losing privacy, 2028 plans on Indiana to implement ID verification for your fucking... No! Gold, silver, and jewels are worthless in the event of an economic collapse. Food and medicine are worth more. Correct. Necessities are actually worth something. Jewelry, gold, fancy things, fucking worthless. Fucking worthless. Fancy clothes mean nothing because they shred under the slightest amount of work. Go buy some denim. Hardest thing with building up to that is that most people have an easier time picturing an end of the world. Yes, exactly. Exactly, Mando. Yeah, the people did a study and found that the majority of Americans can fathom the end of the world before they fathom the end of capitalism. They forget the most important part of feudalism, the contract. You know, the fact that you do work, get bread, get house. And that has fallen apart in recent decades. Because it has. Vod might be dead, though. No, it's fine. It's fine. Slash HJ? I know J is usually joke. What is H? Oh, I got you. I got you. Tar and feathers are looking kind of good right now. True. I don't know. I feel like I'm above humiliating somebody who probably gets off to it. I think we make it quick and clean. I think quick and clean is the better option for tech billionaires and political millionaires and lobbyists. Lobbyists are an entirely different issue. Disgusting. Hey, what's your job? Oh, I'm a lobbyist. Disgusting. Just spit on their shoe. How tenacious people can be in the worst conditions? Oh, they always do. Because the wealthy are comfortable in the United States, and they've been comfortable its entire existence. They can't fathom a revolution because it's never happened. The one revolution we had, the American Revolution, as they called it, was basically footed by the rich and wealthy and wanted by the rich and wealthy so that they didn't have to pay taxes. Wait, what did you send? What did you send, Pippin? Did I miss something? 7,000 fucking viewers scuffed the lobbyist Jays. Oh my god. 7,000 fucking viewers scuffed the lobbyist Jays. Sir Celine, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. Civil War is an attempted revolution. It was not. The Civil War was not an attempted revolution. The Civil War was an attempt to separate from the United States, who decided that abolishing slavery was in its best interest for international diplomacy. However, the South did not want to do that because their entire economic factors, shape, thing, whatever you want to call it, economy, relied on slave labor, which, and mind you, were owned by the wealthy. One on the side of freedom. It was more like the South didn't get the same benefits from international trade that the North did prior to the Civil War. And typically having slavery at that point was kind of frowned upon on the international stage as diminished as it was at that point in time. Classified as the most general term of revolution. No, it was a civil war. It was a civil war between two wealthy classes that sent the poor to go fight for their battles. That's always what it is. That is what it is every single time. States' right? States' right to what, Light? A state's right to what? Go on. I'll wait. Come on. States' right to what? States' rights to what? Here, chat. You know what we're going to go do? We're going to go get the Confederacy's, I'm trying to remember what it's called. The Confederate States founding documents. I can't remember the name of it, but I'll find it. I'll find it. Constitution of the Confederate States. All right, let's see here. No, I want the actual thing. Let's see if I can find it. Let's do this. Because we have technology. That's crazy. Okay. So the word slave, or anything that incorporates slave in it, is in the Constitution of the Confederacy 10 times. The first one is talking about representatives and direct taxes of 3/5 of all slaves. Section 9, the importation of the N-word of the African race from any foreign country other than the slaveholding states or territories of the United States of America is hereby forbidden. Congress is required to pass such laws as shall effectually prevent the same. Congress shall not also have the power to prohibit the introduction of slaves from any state not a member of or territory belonging to this Confederacy, is how it's worded. No bill, a tender, ex post facto law, or law denying or impairing the right of property in slaves shall be passed. Again, they specify the N-word before the word slaves here. Article 4, Section 2, citizens of each state shall be entitled to all privileges, immunities of citizens in the several states, and shall have the right of transit, sojourn in any state of this Confederacy with their slaves and other property, and the right of property in said slaves shall not be thereby impaired. 2 sections down. No slave or other person held to service or labor in any state or territory of the Confederate States under the laws thereof, escaping or lawfully carried into, shall in consequence of any law or regulation therein be discharged from such service or labor, but shall be delivered up on claim of the party to whom such slave belongs, or to whom such service or labor may be due. And now, if I read that right, does that say that they couldn't release a slave from slavery? Oh, yeah, 100%. 100%, Kelvin. Hi, Pyra. Hold on, what's this other section? There's a little bit more here. Okay. Confederate states may acquire new territory, and Congress shall have power to legislate and provide governments for the inhabitants of all territories belonging to the Confederate States, lying within the limits of the several states, and may permit them at such times and in such manner as to may by law provide to foreign states to be admitted in the Confederacy. In all such territories, the institution of slavery as it now exists in the Confederate States shall be recognized and protected by Congress and by the territorial government, and the inhabitants of several Confederate states and territories shall have the right to take to such territory any slaves lawfully held by them in any of the states or territories of the Confederate States. So any territories, this was never used because they didn't actually gain any lands. If they had gained any lands, additional states joined, or any extra territories that they may have like taken over or anything, was required to allow slavery. And that's towards the bottom of it. There's only 7 articles. 7 articles, and at least 4 of them have something mentioning slavery in them. Damn. A dude, John Brown. John Brown lies the moldering. Wait. Ah, damn it. I fucked that one up. That's fine. She said, is rage burning beneath her skin? Correct. History is full of rage. But yes, slavery is effectively still immortal. It's still technically institutionalized in the United States via its prison industrial complex. It also doesn't help that basically the school system is meant to either introduce you as factory workers or send you straight to the prison pipeline. Lies the moldering in the grave. Yep. Who actually wrong society, murderers, armed robbers for the betterment of society. I do think that is such. You should really imprison those who deserve it and kill the ones who are awful. I struggle sometimes with the death sentence. And then I get to points where it's like, oh, you're telling me that there is a massive cabal of ultra rich pedophiles leading the governments and major governments all across the world. Oh, they should die. Like 40 minutes reading the documents will have you convinced of such. Yeah, don't discuss politics with people John Brown would have shot. I order you to get in the name of his holy Lord. Oh, no. The thing is, though, like, I could understand, like, armed robbers. The thing is, though, bettering life would stop those things from happening. Having proper mental health care, having actual jobs and programs that are available to people, or hell, automation followed by basic universal income would almost delete crime. It'd be gone if people weren't having to do certain things or certain illegal things for the course of survival. Do you think people sell drugs just for the love of the fucking game? No. It's because it's lucrative and it allows them to live comfortably. Yeah, it's almost like society can be used to fucking help people. A small percentage, I'm sure. That's the thing. That's where mental health comes in. The people that are, because this is true, the people that are legitimately demented, just think of like a few of the major serial killers, iconic serial killers. Those are people that could have been completely stopped by proper mental health evaluations and like understanding and studying. Ignoring the genetics behind psychopathy. Yeah, it can be genetic, but again, it's one of those things that if they're a true harm to society, institutionalization is not inherently wrong in some cases. It's when it's essentially, in the case of like earlier, what was it, 50s through the 60s, institutionalization was basically torture. Only thing I don't like about the death sentence would be corrupt courts abusing it. It's one of those things of checks and balances, of having a fair council so that everyone stays impartial and or tied to the values that the country was founded on. That's a weird way to say that. I was saying that after the course of like a revolution, not like in a classic American values kind of way, which in my mind is like, okay, the government's been replaced by a council of like workers and like elders and stuff. And gets rotated out roughly like yearly, bi-yearly. Yes, that is also true, Light. That is very true. And I was going to say, that's one of the things I think sometimes is I think the death penalty should only be applied whenever somebody's crimes are proven without any doubts. And I don't mean reasonable doubt. I mean without any doubt. When the evidence is overwhelming to the point where it's like, that could have been fucking no one else. But even the slightest amount of doubt or a single innocent man being killed by the death penalty should have stopped it. It should have. You know, we live in a fucked up world when it didn't. When there's points where they like find out like, oh, this man was innocent 15 years after they executed him. Or like 30 years after a person's been on death row that long. Yeah, I would say I'm principally against the death penalty. Until you hit people that you know 100% are absolutely the most demented fucks and should not be allowed to live. Looking at you, United States government. Viva la revolution. Viva la revolution. All right, we have an ad break in 2 minutes. Let me make sure I at least have a game ready. Let's do words today. Because we've been doing the stream pairs for quite a while. That's fine as it is. Most of the last decades, mass shooters that were arrested were not put to death. Correct. Well, okay. So a significant portion of mass shooters do not get arrested because they check out. Because to a lot of mass shooters, the goal is either 1, to go down in history, 2, get back at someone after they've basically given up on life, or 3, go out in a blaze of glory. It's fucked up. It's demented. And I'm sure there is a massive significant portion of ones where a mass shooting event just ends in finding the dead shooter. Genetics is typically a flat deterministic factor in it. Sociopathy is a secondary factor typically developed later on. Well, yeah. Beating certain that's what I'm saying, though, is the crimes even happening, though, could have been prevented by proper and available mental health care. Fuck the guilty before proven innocent stuff. There's way too many people I know that are run on a guilty until proven innocent. I found that out really hard when I went to jury duty. Because the jury thing that I got called into was for a drug seller. He was selling cocaine and I want to say it was just marijuana. I want to say it was cocaine and marijuana. I remember the cocaine for sure, but I don't remember what the other thing was. And the dude was like 19. He was like 19 or 20. And there was a grown man in that room that raised his hand and stood up and said, while that boy was in the room, that was a boy, that he would rather have the death penalty for drug sellers. And it was like one of the questions was just before that was like, would you consider the maximum sentence? Which the maximum sentence for like all of his charges would have been like 72 to 75 years. And I was like, no. And they asked me like, why? And I was like, he's a kid. That is a kid who was trying to make ends meet, selling, of course, not illegal substances. But it does not mean he can't turn himself around after the minimum, which I think the minimum was like 10 or 12 years. Thank you, Reagan. Fuck you, Reagan. The plot did. Is it? Kingsman. Golden Circle. Is that the one with Elton John? Right? That's the one with Elton John, isn't it? The president had the same kind of deal. Ugh. Yeah, drugs did win. That is correct. It does not help that the U.S. government itself was also the one supplying the drugs. You know? As if it was supposed to be some kind of actual attempt to stop drugs? No, it wasn't. It was an attempt to police certain neighborhoods. Fucking duh. Poverty won, drugs won, terrorism won, the last three wars? Correct. Anyway, I'm gonna be right back, chat. I'm gonna go get a pickle. I want a pickle. Okie dokie. What'd I miss? I downed a pickle. It was a good pickle. It was a very good pickle. Please and thank you. All right. All right, we'll finish this round and then we'll jump into the game. Unless I want to keep talking about the quote unquote wars. War on drugs and the DARE just being a money laundering scheme. Because it was. Just in case anybody doesn't remember the DARE program, the DARE program was a anti-drug program where a police officer used to come into the school and basically try to teach you drugs are bad, okay? Really poorly. Usually it was the worst officer too, because it was like a punishment rule. And fun fact, chat, it failed. Because kids that were part of the DARE program were actually more likely to get into drugs than kids who had never been in the DARE program. I dare to do drugs, officer. Oh my God. Where there's a mayor, there's a pickle not far behind. What does that mean? Goodness, sorry. Indicative of the faith they had in the program, I guess. The thing was, though, the like board of DARE rotated so fast and frequently that even some of their board members literally only existed on paperwork for like a couple months. Michael Jackson was part of the DARE program at some point and then dropped out. Which I'm guessing it's after he found out that the DARE program was effectively a money laundering scheme. DARE taught us what the drugs look like. Yep. And what kind of people give it out? Congrats, drugs, you're winning the war. Yeah. It's almost like the point of it was not, in fact, actually to keep kids away from drugs. What is instead to introduce them to the idea of drugs and what they were capable of in order to get them to do them or get involved with them so that they would go to prison. Anyway. All right, let's put this away. Go a little bit smaller. Hey, listen, I was on Michael Jackson's side the entire time. I can wholeheartedly say that I did not believe the accusations for even a goddamn minute. I mean, we already knew that the accusations were fake because the kids who did it after they like grew up, became teenagers, admitted that they were pressured by their parents, and many parents were pressured by some outside team to do it. CIA made good soldiers and crack fiends here, just like they do when they try to non-violently take over other countries. Non-violently, my fucking foot. All right. Let's put the music away. Let's get the game audio unmuted. Hold on, why do I have notices? Okay, it's nothing important. Always just gotta make sure. All right, chat. Where the fuck were we? Oh, fuck, that's right. Shit. Okay. Okay, hold on. What was the... Ah, damn it. What was the button to... Is it P? Oh, that's photo mode. What was the button to open... K used to be it, but it's not letting me. I was gonna go check if I had the archery beads. Okay, I can do map. That works. Map is M. That's fine. Okay, I do have the archery beads equipped. Ooh. That was weird. It is kind of funny that even during these scenes, they still drop the spell things. Now, we also don't have any powers, so... That every game has. We lost our powers. They took KK, who was the one that was basically giving us our powers. Now, I'm guessing they only put this corruption stuff here to like block our path and no other reason. So let me turn the game volume up a little bit. I swear there was... Ooh, ominous sounds. Oh, right, the catwalk. Oh, shit. Seriously? Whew. Thing is, I know you can't fully sneak out of here because they decide to give you like a sort of boss fight. Good night, T-Stone. Thank you for the lurk. Oh, shit. Never mind. Maybe I can sneak past her. Oh, man. There's a cat over there. Don't turn around. She's gonna turn around, isn't she? Yep. Whew. Oh. I want to get the souls, but I don't want to risk him, like, turning around. Oh, she's going back down. Yeah, Yeah, I thought she was unavoidable because I swear I remember almost every time I've done this place, I end up fighting her. So I think I'm quite lucky right now. And then I find out that I'm actually supposed to be going down instead of up. Gift subs to make her go pet the cat. I will go down there and try to get the cat for gift subs. 5 more gift subs for the day. But you gotta do it quick. Get that cat cameras? It's just a money cat, but I have to get past her to do it. God, her laugh. The thing is, though, is I also don't think I can execute her. I think she has too much health for me to be able to, like, sneak. I can get up and, like, do a chunk of damage to her. No one? All right, I'm gonna just keep heading up then. God, sometimes just the tiny noises in the, like, ambiance. Just, do you hear those, like, little twangs? Actually, hold on, let me turn it up just a bit for y'all. Because it had been turned down for earlier. Sneaky? I'm very sneaky. It's because we lost our powers, so all I have is a bow and arrow. Oh, and my talismans. Wait, what is that? Oh, I think that's the catwalk. So if you had gotten on the catwalk. Yeah, it's that way. Thing too is I can't remember, but I don't think there's, I think there's collectibles on the catwalk, but I don't think it's worth my trouble. Okay. Playing a lot of Where Winds Meet recently, and I just got to make sure to pet every cat I see. True, because you actually get stats for petting the cats. You get bonus, I can't remember which stat it is, but you do get bonus stats for petting cats. And petting cats that you've never pet before. Exactly, Kafka. Exactly. Oh, Jesus. I do remember at one point when we played through this, we actually did, I think, just like rush through this level past all the mobs. Okay. Pretty sure, yeah, I have max arrows. Because I haven't had to use them. Oh, shit. Oh, I should have just tried to sneak up on her. There she goes. She's stepping. It's fine. It's fine. Nailed it. Just banging on it, hoping it works. Oh, the door just opened on its own. Okay, I suppose that works. It's the ladder. When you don't know the way. I'm sorry, I found the umbrella.
I'm finally out of there. His apartment was north of here.
Okay. Oh, there's the thing I was talking about earlier. But we've already killed the yokai that were here. There's another one. Nope. It's fine. It'll be fine. Give me that, Odin. Okay.
And stay down.
I barely noticed her there for a second. Give me that. Corruption there, corruption there. Okay, I think we're good. I think we're good.
Wow, I actually made it.
There we go. Oh, god damn it, I completely fucking forgot.
Who are you? You are in the picture.
Shrimp, yeah,
The old
shrimp.
man. Sure seem to have hit it off, huh?
Shrimp.
So, you want to do some rescuing?
God damn
You're
it.
up to it?
Yeah, I put a reward up for chat for 20 gifted
Need his
subs,
power.
and I would use the shrimp costume the rest of the game.
Yeah. But I don't know where they took him.
So, you haven't realized it yet then?
Is that Twitter on the left side?
It's still there, you know.
What?
The cameras were not made with this costume in mind. That camera was just glitching. Look at it, glitching through the suit.
This. Give this
Ah, yes,
to
the
Informer.
skinny Azrael side shave girl who's...
It's important.
Never mind, spoilers. Abby Marin? God damn it. Hey, shrimp is good, okay? Like, really good. She's Batman. Oh, she didn't actually hand it to me. Oh, you already got the shrimp? Oh my god.
Is this?
Family. 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 Family.
What the?
Personally, I think even you should be able to use this. Pretty much all I can do for you right now. You're just gonna have to figure things out. Oh, thicket talisman. Summon shrubs that obstruct a visitor's line of sight when thrown. These brushes make for perfect hiding places to sneak around undetected. Okay, that's one of the ones that we read before. I don't think there's anything new in here, right? Pretty sure since the first time we were in here, we got everything, including the Tango Gameworks logo that was on top of the fridge. Turlet. Oh, you can't flush this one. The toilet paper being called Sapien.
Is this what she meant by us being connected? This is nuts.
Follow the ink.
KK's at the other end. We're still connected. His power is still inside me.
Oh, wait, hold on a second. You, kitty. Okay, then never mind. I thought I heard one of the voices. And now this is going to take us somewhere. Hello, Stinkies. Club Star 49. Hotel Silent Nya. Oh, shit. We were here before and she was definitely not here. It's okay, she's locked in looking at her own reflection. Okay. Dog's barking, that's fine. Oh shit, there's a ghost right there.
Fight him head on.
I can and I will. Even if it uses half my fucking arrows. Okay. Hey puppy, how are you doing? Yeah, Jane. Hi, Cooper. No, not Cooper. No, okay, no, that is copper. Okay, I read that right. Do you have high quality copper? This is an important question. Do you? Oh, I thought I saw an enemy for a second. Give souls, please, and thank you. Give me that. Ooh. God fucking damn it, dude. I think it's gonna give me every time I see it in the cutscene. I have that half a second of, what the fuck? Oh no, a child is here. Fuck me, dude.
They won't stop me. If I'm gonna save Mori. KK. I need
Oh,
your
please,
power.
the Scrimps. Scrimps is bugs. Scrimps is bugs.
Here goes nothing.
No, you didn't see shit. Oh, hey. I thought this was actually the way inside. I was wrong. I wanted to come in here because there's usually like a bunch of stuff, including arrows. And a KK book. Hell yeah, I'll take those skill points. Give snack. Hey. Shmoney. Shmoney. Okay. You don't see anything. Okay. So this is definitely somewhere they want me to climb up. Of course. You don't see anything. Is there a bush on that roof? I'm gonna wait for her to path back, and then when she turns around, I can get her. A shrimp really did fry this rice? Oh no. I hope this thing lasts. No! She lost me, didn't she? Oh, yep, she lost me. Okay. And then I know for sure there's 2 of these guys up here. Not a good idea. Let's go this way. Think I could nail a headshot on this one? Can't get him, he's slouching too much. Oh. What's that? Melon. Whiffed it. Alright, that's enough for me. Okay. Hello? Has that bush always been there? I've been here for weeks and the bush would know better than us, I guess. Makes Miss Japan visiting shrines one of my favorite things. I've never been to Japan. I want to go. I want to be able to travel someday. And then maybe someday I'll have enough money to do like the IRL, like vlogging streams while we're going around, checking places out. Touch it. Touch the cube. I see shrimp. I only see shrimp. Oh, hi, KK.
Drinks took long enough.
You sound like you knew I was coming to rescue you.
Rescue? Let's not dress it up. You're here because you need my power. Am I wrong?
Before time began, there was the cube.
Weren't you?
The cube. The claw.
So she's still alive.
No.
I wish the United States had more cultural
Yeah,
locations
still
than it does.
nosing into my
The closest thing you get in the United States is a bar serving Bud Light.
This your family?
Or a baseball stadium. Ugh.
Are they why you're...
Got nothing
Work,
to do with you.
Marceline!
All that matters is we're
Also,
on
don't
the
I owe
same
somebody
path.
push-ups?
Me and you.
I'll hang on to this.
Pretty sure I owe somebody push-ups.
So, you coming or what?
Both of us trying to act
How you
nonchalant.
ask someone for a favor?
I'm
Wow,
not
we're
asking.
both losers.
It's an offer. And neither of us has much choice.
Hope you don't
About
regret
New York.
it.
Think one was hyper. New Orleans is pretty goated once you move the societal collapse from the Bush era aside. True. The post Katrina's collapse. Yeah. That ain't my shrimp outfit. What the fuck? Oh right, it's KK's outfit. Oh right, this is where we get a new power.
Friends of yours?
Yeah. Make him feel at home, would you?
Fine. I'll show him a good time.
All right, fucking Slenderman.
Let's do this thing.
Gonna close the book on this!
Yeah, we have an ultimate now. Oh, I didn't see you back there, buddy. Damn, I could have made that a quad.
Oh, it's awesome!
It just shows you what we can do when we're in sync.
Wire in. With Akito's resonance with KK's at its maximum, press V. Wiring in will completely restore SP for ethereal weaving. It'll also unleash a powerful shockwave around Akito, which will blast small enemies away and stun tougher ones. It also makes it easier to expose visitor core. Nice. Oh. Oh, okay. Cutscene elsewhere. Stop raiding your refrigerator. What?
Excellent. The vessel nears completion.
Okay, but some of those are just slamming into the rock. That's a good question.
You hold on to these, Mari.
Parents' wedding rings. Not know the Slenderman video? Which Slenderman video?
These are Mom and Dad's?
Yeah, would you rather me hold on to them? I figured you would want them more.
Yeah. The ones we got for their anniversary.
Thank you.
Oh, it was a gift that they had gotten for the
Take good
parents.
care of them.
Okay. Praise the sun! Crin's ass shit horror. I mean, it's pretty good until, like, Queens got involved with it and literally tried to kill somebody over it. Oh.
Now, vessel, serve my will.
Okay, whoever you are. Hmm. Oh, right.
What the?
I'm sure that's fine. I'm sure the giant light spire's totally fine.
Damn it. They've started the ritual.
Mari.
Time's wasting. Let's move.
All right, gotta do the important thing first before chat loses its mind. Okay, hold on. Let me spin some skill points here. Oh no, that's the quick purge. think I kind of want to get some of these. Right. Yeah. Oh, wait, what is this? 25. We'll do this. Oh, it'll increase the rate. Oh. Oh, that was weird. It gave me enough time to open the video and then fucking threw me into the next chapter.
That light's coming from the
This is where you left off? Ooh.
First, we've got to cleanse this place and get rid of the fog.
Working on it. Oh god, there's a whole bunch of spirits around the place now that I need to go get. Son of a bitch, I saw you back here.
So that woman's a friend of yours, right?
Who? Rinko? I don't know if I'd go that far.
Meaning...
We're work
Oh, there's
friends.
another one over there.
Doesn't mean we need to get along.
Also, I should probably go check inside.
Gotta save more of them.
I was right, there is something inside. You! Oh, it's a shell.
What's that?
Horror guide, musical instrument derived from a conch shell, first used during Japan's Heian period. Ooh! Collectibles. They're very important. And so are souls. Okay. Oh boy, side mission. Is this one from one of the cats? This is definitely... Oh, it's not from one of the cats. Cat's right here. Give me that. Hi, kidding. Nice. All right, buddy. What do you need me to do?
I know what I saw. That was an Oni.
Oh, Onings!
Oni are these big, scary demons, right?
All right, but this is not purple and really loud, so it's not quite my favorite.
Yeah. The word Oni originally comes from the word Onu. It means something unseen. In old times, when something terrible happened, people blamed an Oni, what they couldn't see.
Almost makes you feel bad for them.
So?
The Onis
spot this
themselves?
Oni.
Well, there was this dog over there with a bandana.
Ah, yes,
Gave him
the
a treat.
dogs.
Then he just called out the Oni.
A dog who likes Kibidongo. Sounds just like that old fairy tale, Momotaro.
So what? We've
With
got
the
a dog
peaches?
now? Give me a break.
Wait, are you more worried about the dog than the Oni?
Me? Hell no.
Wow, he tries so hard to be
take it
tough.
Easy.
Oh, it gave me a Kibi Tango. Okay, so I don't have to go buy one at least. Oh, it's this way. Hello. Okay. You.
Must be our dog. Love the bandana.
Hey, Mutt. Know where we can find an Oni?
Sure, but you gotta give me Kibi Tango first. Really? Okay. Have Donko, buddy. It is kind of interesting to me that this game decides to have a feature that actually uses random items that you can buy at the grocery stores in this game. I like it. Right here, Koiback. What's the strange shit I'm picking up? Oh, yes.
What are these things doing here?
Oh, hi. There's another one there. Illegal, man. Fine. Jesus. Oh, of course you're one of the big guys.
You've got to protect the dog.
Oh, damn it.
That's the end of that.
God, I almost
Get the dog
died.
and Call out the Oni.
Hi, buddy.
Looks like we're good now.
I'll call him out. Okay. When the finger gun is a gun finger, correct.
Whoa,
Buddy.
it's a real Oni.
Yeah, but he also shows staged of starvation, which is mildly concerning.
They were after your power. That's why they attacked you. If you give it to us, they should leave you alone from now on.
Is that okay? Think you can trust us?
Is that how that works? Hate fighting anyway, go ahead and take my power. I don't want it. What does that mean? I mean, I know it gives us a Magatama, but does that mean he just died? Does that mean he basically just committed suicide by giving away his Magatama? I always wondered that in these cases. All right, so we did that side mission. Jesus Christ. Why are they all so far away? Okay, let's go do... Let's do this one. And the closest fast travel is this cat. Of Wolfenstein, it's so good. Well, thank you, Beef. I'm glad y'all are watching some of them. Sad thing is, though, the first part being in, like, the 24-hour thing, YouTube automatically, like, cut the video in half and then failed to upload the second half. And I'm lazy, so I don't think we're going to upload the second half. Because I'd have to download a, like, 21-hour stream. Hope to God my PC doesn't explode when I'm trying to, like, search around, scrub around in it. Oh, this isn't helpful. Hello. Okay.
Why does this keep happening?
Small business owner.
Keep having employees disappear on me.
Have you considered being a better owner?
Business be cursed?
Oh,
Any
wait,
idea
I
what
think I
that would
remember
be?
this mission.
No, not a clue. I spent so much
All I would have to do is figure out where the, like, first YouTube
it's
one
time to
cut
pay
off,
a
which is,
visit.
like, 11 hours and something minutes in. Ghostwire Tokyo. Hi, tired night shift nurse. Oh, I gotta find the office building. I'm guessing it's this one that has the corruption in front of it.
Must be the spot. Let's look inside.
Okay. But yeah, this is Ghostwire Tokyo. It's one of my
Place is in
favorite games
ruins.
of all time.
Let's see if we can figure out why.
I mean, this office building already looks a little eh. Here. Whoop. Oh no. Oh, he saw me. I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. This is gonna hurt! Whew, okay. Smack.
Irritating little jerks.
Alright, so... That's fine.
Come on, let's step into the macabre halls of the Dark
Hello?
Carnival.
Next! Next!
Please enjoy the show.
There we go. Next, how was your stream? Did you have a good time? Welcome in, Raiders. Batman Arkham City. Are you playing through all of the Arkham games? Hello? Yeah, so apparently we're looking for 3 clues. Actually, you know what? Let's do it the fun way. Hi, guys!
Shoot him up!
Ow. Double ow. Get out of the corner, you shitters! Oh shit, there's more. Oh, one of them's the big dude. Cool. Okay. Oh, hi! God damn it, I couldn't see him through all the particles. Oh, where are all of these openable? Oh, glitched out, that's fine. Frustration with promotion. I guess the new performance review system is why I was promoted to manager despite being so young. But like, what am I supposed to do when everyone I'm managing is older than me and won't respect me? I feel like I was set up for failure here. It's okay, that's happened to me before.
Might be mortifying.
Like when I was the manager of the water park. Okay. Anything else? Is there more upstairs somewhere? I guess it's downstairs. I guess I missed a room. I did see the visitors through the wall here. Is it this door? Yoink.
What's this?
Hell yeah, classic Japanese doll. Oh. Of course, I was like, there has to be more than one mob in here.
Again?
Good? Everything fine? Is that it? I guess it is. Okay. Gib. Alright, what's this? Having days where overtime isn't allowed won't change what work I have to get done. Clients aren't going to just wait for the next business day to roll around. Just pay us overtime instead of forcing us to take work home. Anton, thank you for the follow. Welcome in.
Overtime if you don't give people less work.
That's true. If the workload is so tight that overtime is necessary, then just banning overtime is not the way to fix the problem. Making more reasonable deadlines so that it's more achievable with less overtime is the way to do it. Okay, we're missing something somewhere. There's the document. Wait, is that on the floor? Oh, it is. I totally missed it. Open office plan complaint. So what, you thought not having any set work areas would improve communication? Because I feel even more alone now. Everyone's off making their little office cliques and I'm left totally alone.
That does sound pretty rough.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I can put things together.
I have an
boss had good
idea of
intentions,
a,
but
of a
still.
boss who's trying to very
Got
much
the negative
modernize his
emotions
office and it
piling
ain't
up.
working out. Failing to understand how to do good work-life balance. Exactly. It's unreasonable deadlines that usually lead to overtime. Oh, that's a water thing. Oh, wait, he moved. I just realized that. I walked right past him.
Did you figure out why everyone left?
Yeah, seems like your initiatives didn't
Preach
work
that
for your
shit.
staff.
Beat the
Seems
yokai
like
bunweed
your
blast?
boss
Oh
has
no.
Probably been more hands off.
Huh. So nobody was happy with how things were run? Well, now that I know, I can improve in the future. I swear I'm gonna do better by everyone next time.
There you go, that's
Don't
spirit.
work to death in the afterlife.
Yeah, but it still raises the question, is every person that disappeared from Tokyo dead? That's a fucking lot of people. All right, next side mission. Here's one is this one. The office, we already have the officer one, but that's fine because uniforms actually carry over between playthroughs. Always confusing for me the fact that they wanted to keep people in the office for as long as they legally can, even by forcing them, by abusing them. What the fuck? Oh man, I don't have any of these. Wait, have we gotten your food yet? Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure we've gotten food from you already. Yeah, okay, we got one. Yeah, I mean, the United States has a very similar corporate culture in that case in some places. Regardless, it's really stupid. I can't imagine living in a country as beautiful as really a lot of countries have their own
Sounds
beauty.
like they got separated.
And still deciding that, yeah, the best thing for
Shopping around here.
these people that work for me is for them to be as here as much as possible. You
okay.
should devote your entire
I'll
life to
find
this
them
company. Fuck that shit, dude. I'm devoting my life to this
nice.
job so that I can go kayaking next
I
year.
don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, gotta go find mom. Wait, do I need to listen to her again? I fucked up and was talking over her this whole time. Oh, was it saying it's this way? Okay, it is saying it's this way. I just couldn't tell for a second. Now, if I remember right... Oh, hey, buddy. You know what? I'm fine with starting a fight with you.
Ready to go, partner!
There she is.
Are you okay? We're here to help.
Ah, there it is. Hi, ma'am.
Would that be your daughter?
Employees can ask somebody to put their 2 weeks in and not have to deal with making it. True.
Like I was trapped. I couldn't even move.
Be a global event rather than select places. I just like to see other places where you get to explore the like
Hey now. I thought we told you
spiritual
to stay
side
put.
of different like cultures.
Yeah, she couldn't wait anymore.
This in like
All's
Mexico
well that
City,
ends well, right?
fucking sold, dude. I'd pre-order that shit. I'd pre-order that shit in a heartbeat.
I'm curious, though. Are you so nice to lost kids because you were a cop?
Something like that. Just leave her there. And about me being nice, just doing my job.
It gives Emot vibes. Anyone else? Anyone else starting to hear Emot? Is there any other ones that are south here? It doesn't look like it. Although we do have one of those guys down there. We'll go do this one first. Oh. Spirits in the modern age. Oh. Here, is this the closest? I guess it is. A ghost Mexico City would go hard stuck, especially with all the cultural significance of the Day of the Dead. Exactly! Can you imagine the designs? Can I get over there? Well, I wanted to get over there, but there's shockingly a few Tengu here. That's fine. Anyway, I'd lost my lunch there for a second. Rule death must be hot? Huh? I suppose I can see that. You mean like the Lady of the Dead? Hello?
Hey, look at that box there.
Photos! Information. Photo missions tab on the mission menu has been unlocked. Select the photo to obtain. Oh. Oh, there. Heart of Shibuya. Not good. They're not even trying to be subtle. The girl looks like she's not a local. Hope she's all right. Okay, I see.
What are these, photos?
And that's the building that we were just in front of, the 429.
I know the chief priest at the shrine. He wanted to get rid of them. But some of them wouldn't burn, even if they were completely in the fire. For those,
I don't remember doing these
you go where the
missions.
photo was taken and cleanse it.
Is that the kind of work you did?
Pretty much. So, I'll leave it to you to cleanse those photos.
I don't follow.
I'm letting you use my powers. Least you can do.
Okay. Okay. So let's do... All right, now where was that section? That's here, right? That's Shibuya Crossing right there. So she's gonna be like here. Oh, wait, is this? Oh, that's a temple we haven't done. Oh, we can't fast travel there. All right, we'll fast travel here then. Huh? Oh, wait, is it because I'm in identifying haunted spots? Okay. Photos binted? Yes, photos binted. Aztecs, true. I think it was because I was in the building that I couldn't fast travel. Also, it says that the area covers some of the... Half of it is like covered in mist. Did I not? No, I did cleanse this place. Okay, we're about to have the ad break though, chat. So I'm going to give y'all that. And I'm going to be back in a minute. I'm going to go get a little snack because I bought a bunch of oranges and bananas and I need to eat those so they don't go bad. I'm going to go eat a banana. They weren't ripe yesterday, but they ripened really quick today. But I'll see y'all in a minute. Bum ba dum. Okie dokie. Banana down. And you failed! Chat. Chat. At level 3? Who are you? What the fuck happens? Are you okay? Do you need to talk about it? We got 20 seconds, but I still need to do some workouts for people. Somebody redeemed. It was Marceline, but I don't think Marceline said what workout it was supposed to be. But I do know I owe somebody 10 push-ups at least. For grabbing post-stream food, don't at me. If you say so. It was squats? Okay. All right, let me do the 10 push-ups and then I'll do the squats. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Whew. Okay, and then 20 squats. I do say so. Yeah, I know you are because you're grumpy pants next. All right. Let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes, next. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I am a bright light of joviality. Oh my God. With the grumpy face too. I'm sorry. That's why I was losing it. I am a ray of fucking sunshine. Jackal. It's Jackal. 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 Fella. Really? I did not think like adjusted slang words counted. Huh. I'm Joy in cards. I don't know next. I don't think I'm convinced. Are you sure? You were playing Batman and before and all the time you played Battleneck and all that jazz. Doesn't exactly sound like the peak of joviality. Joy, excitement. Well, excitement is one thing, but that's fine. You can be wrong just as much as you can be wrong. All right, let's put you away. And not click that thing. Cease the music. Go back to the game. And then... Oh, that's right. We were doing the picture thing. All right. So there's 429. And she was standing right next to... Wasn't this one? Although I do need to hit this. Bonk. I need to hit this one too. It was this one. Wasn't it? Oh shit.
Nope. Getting through this.
Wasn't it like right here? Not that. I need here. Oh, was it database? No, it was missions. Cameras. Yeah, that's it. That's exactly it. Where the back of the photo even changed. Oh, there's a bunch of cats there. Oh, do we need to take a picture of it? Is that what it was? I did. This is where the photo was taken.
This was the spot
Oh, there
in
it
the
is.
photo, right?
I need to just step back.
It's good.
Get over here. You two, over here.
Hi.
Must be the source of the curse. Purge it.
Okay. She's a real taskmaster. It's still legal and free for now. Listen, listen, chat. Do you think that Nex
Photo burned away.
Nex is in fact
So you see what
like
you
an
need to do.
avatar of joy?
There are more photos back in the safe house. Let's cleanse every last one of them.
Damn, I guess I'm gonna have to do that because I've never done that. But let's go do the other mission that we were working on. Shit. All right. Might as well. Would I lie to you? Yes, because they are next. Thank you, loyal minion. Also, it's time to buy all the capsules. This is important.
Come on.
Rainwalker 4? What's to do here? Don't have an opinion on this, really? Develop opinion right now. Right now. Right now. Develop an opinion.
What's it gonna be?
I'm not seeing any blue avatars that are actually very blue. No, wait a goddamn second.
What is it?
Okay, we're doing collectibles, chat. This is very important.
I already have this.
Was that the screaming cat meme? Wait a second. That didn't even register. Welcome, random nice joyful person I just met. Beef. How much is Next paying you? His basin is right in a lot of things. Thank you, Forbidden Atlas.
Now we have this one.
I meant to pay minions. Are you not paying your minions?
Is that a good one?
I mean, randos? Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Got this one already.
Gives you jewel-encrusted bones. Where does he get the jewels and where does he get the bones? That also doesn't sound like a thing that a joyous and happy person would be owning. I'm collecting these for the sole fact of achievement hunting.
Already have this. Let's see.
More Tanuki! Are the bones encrusted with diamonds? Or with jewels? Yeah, it's Tanuki.
What is it?
Nakamata. Yes, small
Never know.
Asian, what can I do for you?
Is that a good one?
Frog! You know what? This one's the best one out of the
Now
batch.
we have this one.
Is the thing about Tanuki with their nutsacks true? No, it's an
I'll
estimation.
lead the way. Come on.
It's a very strong
Already have this.
overestimation that just basically got turned into myth. Frog. Frog.
Make it count.
Pompoko? I have no idea what that is. Aren't the movies called Navi, Navi 2, etc.? Besides, the title is Blue too.
Got this one already.
Spencer, I'm going to start taking away your drinks if you're just going to keep sipping and trying to be controversial, if it will.
Already have this.
I will take away your joy.
Let's see.
Okay, we're down to 8.
Now we have this one.
The protagonists have their avatars that are Navi. That is true. That is true.
Akito.
Wait, that's a Mari 6?
Is that a good one? never know.
How do
I
we
will
do-
logic you out, good sir, ma'am, other. How dare you? You don't get to swing an all of the above attempt and make a point with it. I'll throw you in the gator pit, mister.
How'd we do?
I didn't even make the usual jokes. Oh, okay, you didn't? You didn't? Let's see here. What if I did a little thing?
Got this one already.
All right, point proven.
Make it count.
Dude, I have nothing but a point.
Already have this. How'd we do?
Mouse was the last one I got. Okay.
Nice. You got that whole series.
All right. I'm a sucker for side missions, so we're doing side missions. Neat.
Rest of the photos should be in that box.
Oh, there's a lot. Bet you always left your homework to the last minute.
How'd you know?
A hunch.
I don't know that one. Okay, hold on. Did I pick up a bunch or did I only pick up like one? That's not it. Missions. Okay, I did pick up a whole bunch of them. So overpass. That's the Shibuya line inside the... Should be able to recognize the spot if we see it. All right, guess we're going to Shibuya Station, kids. You hate on us when we get to do the specific things for quotes, and yet you're out here doing that? I'm just picking on you because it's funny. Also, we haven't turned in any souls. So let's do that. And maybe we'll get some level ups. 9,000 experience? Hell yeah. Ooh.
KK? Is that really
Ed.
you, KK? I wish I could verify directly, but as you know, I'm otherwise engaged. Whoever this is, keep up the good work saving spirits.
Okay.
I can feel the power.
Ooh. Wait, what the hell was that? Oh, water elemental charge rush. You can now able to use water elemental charge rush. Attack will use your water aether to create a field of freezing cold in the radius around you. Enemies within the field will take damage and prolonged exposure will freeze them. Huh. Huh.
Now we can use this to...
I don't remember ever using that ability. $20. You know what? Why not? It sounds like a fun ability. I do wonder what the red one is. So that's, we don't get until 23. What are we right now? 18? Okay.
These things in their tracks.
Let's also do a quick hard save.
Back to work.
Hard save. Okay. I assume I'm pinning that. You're pinning what? I didn't say it. You gotta pin yourself. I saw the cuck thing. All right, hold on. We're gonna go to Shibuya Station, which is, well, I guess we gotta go underground here probably, right? More than likely. Going this way. And I guess we can probably take any of the... Give me that. Nope, actually not interactable. Okay, so maybe we need to go to one of these other ones. Go check this one. Nope, definitely can't do that one. So... Shibuya Station. Wait, is this the walkway from one of the... Okay, hold on a second. I don't think it is, but hold on. I think it is, actually. Oh, hi, kids. Okay, think fast. Have gun. I clicked the wrong thing.
Ready to roll.
Okay. Is it?
We need to get a move on.
No, this definitely isn't it. That's a much more like open area, isn't it? That's a construction site with a very similar walkway. Okay. Gobi. I totally whipped it.
Finish them off.
Okay. I feel like it's too morbid a joke. Wait, what did you say? American schools be like, stop. No, absolutely not. Okay. Did we pray to this already? Okay, we did. Where was the way-in's right here, isn't it? Not there. Oh, there it is. Okay. So we need to go find... Uh-oh. Chat? Listen, I don't make the rules, okay?
You never know.
This one actually has a bunch of the enemies that we haven't seen yet in it. Fireball! Oh, shiz, here we go again. It's fine! It's totally fine. Then I get to actually look at chat and read all the things. Let me see. Apparently, DreamWorks tried to sue Pirate Bay because Pirate Bay is Swedish and they were not breaking any local laws. They told DreamWorks to fuck off or get sued for harassment. Nice. I don't think we've seen this one either.
Make it count.
She can quit anytime. It's for the achievements. I want the Chie, is that you? Anytime. Whenever I want. I said whenever I want. Yes, that is... Actually, technically, it's like a furry creature. His fur just looks like leaves. Which I think also technically was 3 of them on top of each other. Oh, he's invisible.
Make it count.
How'd we do?
The relentless walker. I don't like him.
What's it gonna be?
Is that a good one?
Kind of. It's a mix. It's a mix. Which it is interesting that this one's in here if we've only seen like... On the cover, we've only seen like 3 of these enemies.
Make it
And we
count.
only just saw the Oni. That one's one of my least favorite monsters.
What's it gonna be?
Where's our guaranteed golden Gambit game? What? What do you mean? Seeing nothing, convince yourself that there's just an invisible thing there? I mean, it was actually invisible, because I'm pretty sure those monsters actually do turn invisible.
You never know.
We gotta get the 5-star man. It's guaranteed. I'm more like a 3-star champion. Listen, we won't even rank up till 4-star until we get that check mark. And then 5-star is if you have the CCV of 1,000 plus. No, there's only 17 more pools. It's fine. Yeah, sure. Listen, it's fine. Trust me. I know what I see, okay? I'm the one with the special eyes.
How'd we do?
Trust me? No. We can be hopeful, but as of right now, we have exactly 0 streams that count towards it.
Please don't worry about a thing, Dad.
Erica. Is that KK's daughter? I think that's KK's daughter.
Come on.
Just because you have a multitude doesn't mean your eyes are special. Well, I have more eyes than you next. Therefore, they are special. Fuck yeah, motorcycle. Can I turn it? I can't turn it. Damn it.
You never know.
To give you VOD watchers, get in here? Nah, it's fine. Ah, yes, the towel.
Come on.
What is
See
it?
the invisible gotcha pool? It's okay. See, there he is again. This one's slimy, though. He is invisible. VOD watchers not getting their real tickets. Shadow Hunter.
What's it gonna be? Let's see.
But I got that vision. Oh yeah, well I've got that touch.
Come on.
What is it?
Oh, the mermaid things. Ugh. You've got the power. What's wrong, Sunstar? Hold on, I'll get you what I mean. It's not the same song, but it's the one I was thinking. There you go, chat. While we do these last, like, 7.
Let's see.
Dale? Who? 7,000?
How'd
No.
we do?
I do wish you could actually multiple roll on this. Sadly, you can't.
Is that a good one?
Yeah, I wish it had 10 pulls. It'd be a lot faster. Or just like however many you wanted to, like how you can slide up on the shop. That'd be quite a lot better.
What is it?
All right, 2 more.
Now, gather forth.
All right, last
What's it
one.
gonna be?
Is that a good one?
Ooh. Sanguine Dancer? Wait, that's actually
Completed
cool.
the series.
All right. No more visible touch. All right, we were going to find the train. The question is it in the underground or is it in the above ground section? This one? That's an above ground section. It's not this way. Coin lockers, restrooms. Okay, maybe.
I'll never not get lost in this place.
I stopped using trains, so it's no problem for me anymore.
Oh, hey, there's spirits in here.
What the hell is that?
A tape player? Portable cassette player. Hell yeah. Okay, so there's got to be a different... Oh, there's the Tanuki right there. We're missing... Let's go get the Tanuki real quick. Fuck it. Give me that dongo. You, come here. Hi, buddy. Oh, hey. Okay. You got the game working? Yeah, it just took a little bit of finagling. Is there... Has to be a different wing, right? Somewhere? Oh, hello. Oh, it's the bathroom. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else in here. There has to be another wing we can get into, right? Because this one doesn't go very far. How did we get... I don't think this goes anywhere if I remember right. Okay, yeah, it doesn't go anywhere. Casually yoinks your soul, as I do, please and thank you. I don't think these doors are openable. Yeah, they're not. All right. Not that one. Let's try going up here. Yes, dog, I hear you. Nothing. Oh, a dongo. Huh. Okay, there's got to be another way in. We came from that side. We're going to this side. Yeah, that only goes down. I feel like it's in there. But like, this doesn't get us there. Okay. That's a cat. It's gotta be. Yes, what can I do for you? Chat, why are you exploding? Oh, maybe we can get in through here? At least grab these souls.
I'll show you how it's done.
Okay. Good souls. Oh, a cat. I don't think these elevators are usable. Nope. Not even a little bit. Oh, yes. We're getting our gacha money back, chat, so that we can do other gacha later.
Well, look at you.
No, I don't think it's this construction site. What was that? Who did that? Firehand, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. We'd be getting a few side eyes. I don't think I can get on the tracks. Cause like there's the tracks. Why does it look like I can climb? I think we climbed up this before to get onto the roof for like the moon mission. But that wasn't that useful. I feel like it has to be. All right, hold on. Let's look at the picture again. Mission, pictures. That's the walk one. Grudge on the tracks. Probably at Shibuya Station. There's gotta be like a way down into it. Hi, Firehands. How are you doing? I want to do the puzzle missions. Oh. Oh, it's graffiti.
Is this?
That's Shibuya Love Hachi, the Shibuya mascot.
Wait a second. Ooh. Yoink.
What's that?
Japanese rhinoceros beetle. Quite popular with children in Japan due to their iridescent black carapace and remarkable horn. Damn, we don't have any super cool giant beetles in America. I want super cool giant beetles. Closest thing I get is a June bug. We had the bands. The band is overrated. And they're English. The Beatles weren't American. Oh, son of a bitch. I feel like I'm missing something. I have to be missing a whole section because I remember there being so much more that we've gone through. It doesn't even seem to be an elevator available. Like, this is blocked. Even doing then release more? Yeah, all right, I'll get working on the giant beetles. And this was the cutway through that only takes us back to the locker section. Smack. Hi, pup. Ugh. And then I swear all of the ones we checked are they only open for that one mission? Oop, wait a second. We've been down here though, haven't we? Okay, yeah, this was the way we would have gone in. So it's literally just for that one mission, which means there has to be another way in. Yep. train. Hmm. How do I get up onto the tracks? Don't have the Tingu power. Upset. Wait, how many of those things do I have? 6. 6 of 7. Okay. So we should start working on saving all of the experience points we get to spend, because it's like 45, I think, for the summon Tingu power. Of the Wiggle Stim Bug War. Giant bugs, Marin bug. Oh my god. Bugs. I could also do it from up there, but how do I get there? No. Again, there's no Tingu around anywhere. Ooh. Ooh. Oh, that's right. I was like, okay. Oh, that's ominous. I don't like that. I think this is what I'd like. That's the back of the trains that I think I need to get onto. Let's see. Maybe there's an entrance on this side. I hear the voices. Static sounds.
The path is opened. The barrier between worlds weakens.
Maybe up there?
Your strength breaks through walls once impenetrable.
Oh my god! Okay, it's happening! Everybody stay calm! Everybody stay calm!
Calm your tits!
Stay calm! Wait! Everybody calm down!
A new world. O vagrant souls, gather unto me. This is a joyous end, and one to mark the dawn of a wondrous new beginning.
It's giving cult leader. It's really giving cult leader. There's the Tingu. Have you been there this whole time, you chuckle fuck? Bastard. Oh, man.
Something sure is off about this place.
Oh, wait, no, they're right here. There it is.
This is the spot.
It's good.
Next stop, hell.
Hell?
Now watch and learn.
Japanese streams look weird? What makes them look weird? I think they look great. They look like the regular modern subway stations, subway trains. They're very tube-like.
Resentment has a habit of lingering.
I think this is what they actually look like too. Make the Pokemon card market crash? What do you want me to do? Start manifesting it? Is it getting too expensive, Ordain? Is that the problem? You could always come join me in the digital game. But I know you like your physical stuff. All right. I don't know where the other two are right now, so we're not going to do those. So oh, wait, no. Haunted Visions. All right. For 120 bucks. Is that the booster box cost? I remember Magic booster box costing like between $90 and $100. How much are they now? Does anybody know? kind of funny that the kids just try to like dance around you and sneak in because they're basically kids who don't know how to fight. That's why we need the Dark Carnival card game. It would be fun.
Jerks.
Listen, if I made it into a card game at some point, I would play it on stream. I would get the homies together. And if they were also in like the game.
Okay, it's down.
TCG. Thing is, I think it's too focused. It'd be like the thing if like Magic was only about Ravnica. Actually, that'd be more like if fucking Magic was only about the Rakdos. Let's just about Reanimal? Yeah, next week. Because we already have the stuff planned out here. Are we going into the hospital again?
Help, please! The hospital's overrun with monsters! I managed to escape, but now I can't go back.
Anything strange happened recently?
Arrival to V cards so we can put Marin and the homies into it. I mean, I have a couple friends that are in various trading card games, mostly Rift Runners.
I heard she was in a lot of...
They've never reached out to me, so it's just shruggers.
The suffering might have caused some corruption. Can't just
Mainly
ignore
because I'm probably like super critical of VTuber card games. I'd much rather the game be playable than just purely collectible. Oh, we're back in the same hospital.
The girl was supposed to be on the 4th floor, right?
Oh, shit.
Here we go again.
Oops.
Gotta move.
Okay, not wasting any more ammo with that. Okay. Definitely not the original way we went. So is there a curfew or something? No, everyone's dead. That's why there's clothes everywhere. Okay, I remember reading that before. They all disappeared because of the fog. We were technically dead in a motorcycle accident when it happened, and then got reanimated by an exorcist who had been killed by the person who triggered all this. Huh. So the rapture happened? Kind of, but if you count the rapture as the guy stealing every single soul and spirit in Tokyo, Japan, and then putting it into our little sister.
You okay? Thinking about
Yeah,
your
this was
sister?
her room.
Yeah. And what a coward I am.
I'm sure that's fine. Oh, hello. Wait, there's a thing here. Paper crane. Thank you. With what? Is the main plot point? Yes, yes, she
How
is.
come you can't sleep?
You Tokyo, and he goes with wires constantly, Crow, constantly.
Corneal transplant.
And he goes in this shell? No, actually.
The original owner of those
Actually.
eyes saw.
Yes, but spoiler.
Don't you worry. Leave it to me.
Yes, but
Corneal
spoiler.
guards and a strange door.
We might find something at the 3rd floor nurse station.
Oh, okay, so we're gonna have to go down a floor. Why the 3rd floor? Why not this floor? Okay, that's the gripe list I remember reading. Damn it. I thought he was on the ceiling for a split second. But turns out if you teleport into your buddy, you just stand on top of them. Hi guys, have this. Thank you. Oh god, we gotta go through the cafeteria again. You better not do some spooky shit again. Who cleaned up this kitchen? When we came in here before, this place was just covered in meals. There's just like the spirit of like one of the attendants cleaning up the entire kitchen. I was hungry. I mean, to be fair, I would absolutely fucking devour the like there's one of the dishes right here. Like a noodle dish with radish and some tempura shrimp. Oh, baby, please. Also, chat, you gotta make sure. I said I wasn't gonna go out to eat as much anymore. I'm trying to limit myself to only going out to eat on Saturdays, and you gotta make sure I don't do
There
it.
might be something about that girl in here.
Except on a Saturday. Oh, hello. Lions.
What the hell is that?
She's the lions, or she's just statues. Statues of legendary Okinawan creatures with the power to ward off evil. All right, stealing snacks still. Note to hospital director, when I found Owada in the operating room before he died, he kept muttering about how he could see some woman. Then I saw her myself. It was a terrifying sight to behold. She was like some kind of shadow, and she looked like she was wearing a mask. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Please, you need to lock the OR. I've seen the shadow so many times since that day, and I know I'm not the only one. The room needs to be locked up before the patients start talking. Kena Owada, fatal accident report. Kena Owada was admitted with a fracture in his right femur prior to his death. His treatment was progressing well, and he was close to being discharged. However, in the early hours of July 23rd, his body was discovered in an operating room. Cause of death is unknown. No signs of external trauma were found. As Owada was a registered eye donor, we are currently inquiring about patients in need of corneal implants. At the time the body was discovered, there were reports of some extremely strange things happening in the OR, given the large number of similar eyewitness accounts. Access to the area will be restricted for the time being, and the door will be locked with the passcode 74398. 74398, chat. Remember it.
I think this Owada person might be Misaki's cornea donor.
We know the passcode now. Let's try it out on that sealed door. This must be the sealed door.
Never mind, we didn't have to memorize it.
Nice. Let's peek inside.
Shit.
Is someone there?
Okay. Okay. Wrote it down for Nada? Yeah, I always forget if this game has that or not. Also, I'm breaking these so that I can stack up my my jewels and stuff again.
I can still see it.
Oh, it's Owada. Hi, Owada. Hold on, I'm stealing your money.
Please help! I just woke up here. This monster lady attacked me.
Okay.
Just burned into my eyes. I can't stop seeing her.
Interesting. That must make you the donor then.
Donor? What donor? For what?
There's a girl who received your corneas.
Fear vibes in this section? Very much.
problem.
Very much.
No. My eyes are making her suffer.
No, this is Japanese horror, so obviously it's an evil within monster, but she's
Girl
hot.
could escape from this at least.
It's like a waking nightmare.
Either way, we can't leave until we take her out.
Pretty much.
No age numbers. You can
track
tell
her
it's your birthday, though. Happy birthday. Somebody shoot Keyblade. Oh, huh. Oh, okay. It's just a normal one. Just absolutely ass blaster. Or we can do this. Oh, she's dead. Fantastic. Okay, it wasn't the hard mode version.
You saw things. And the woman. She...
It fucking moved? Wait, which one moved?
Are we back in the ward?
Looks
Oh,
the
you shot
monster
Mando. Okay, I got
went
you.
off. Both of you, try closing your eyes.
Enjoy your lurk too,
I'll be
God.
okay.
Build the monster with 8 different fireballs? Is it? I mean, it is also an RPG.
I feel terrible that you suffered because of me.
It's not your fault. You gave me your eyes.
Sometimes collateral happens.
Hearing that is more than I could have ever hoped for. But you two are the real heroes here.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Hope everyone can rest easy now.
I don't think they got a kid to voice act the kid. Because it very much sounds like an adult woman trying to sound like a kid. Can I? Okay, I can't take this elevator. Ding dong. First floor. Mandalorians never forget. Nerd. I mean, you can't see it, but it's behind my shoulder. I also had a 10% attack boost in that. It's why I took a sippy sip of the green tea. Before I went into that conversation, I was like, I'm pretty sure she like triggers here or something. Okay. I think that's the last side mission we have right now, so I think we can go do the shrine. Yeah, that seems right. All right, guess we're going here. Oh, damn it, it's other archery beads. Okay. Fast travel here. Sounds awfully British to me. It is not British. Nice. Okay, this one's on a rooftop. Which, I guess it's best to go up here. Up. Oh, pain.
Quit it!
Nice. Okay. Think I can make it? Wait, no, that's in the mist. I should just go over there. Nope, nope, nope. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. Oh. Oh no, I know what that is. You. Oh, thank God. Okay. It's the harder version of the ghost, and I fucking hate them. A heathen who likes neither tea or coffee? I like both. See if I can make it.
Wish they'd make these easier to find.
Okay. Oh, hi. Jesus.
Strange energy.
Oh, he's behind me. I hate you so much. I hate you. Oh, okay. I spent so many resources on that. What the fuck? I've had neither? What do you mean you've had neither? Oh, hello, laptop. Yoink. All right. Gimme. And then archery beads, which means they upgrade. God fucking damn it.
Looks like it's coming from Forest Park. Don't know what they're doing.
No, I haven't. Not even a little bit.
But we better hurry.
I have not considered playing Poppy's Playtime at all.
Forest Park's to the north. Let's see how close we can get.
Oh, there's the towel thing over there. Yeah, I want to get him because that'll be our 7th Magatama. There we go. Okay, I had to get him to trigger to look at it.
Moment. It doesn't seem like it's too worried about us. Just chase after it. Try to keep up until it stops.
Oh, damn it. Gotcha, bitch. Okay.
That should toughen you up.
Smash? Because I won't play Poppy's Playtime? I'm just not the biggest fan of those, like, over the course of multiple year fucking, like, episodic uploads. I don't trust them. And I've heard the last chapter is not very good. Ads? Oh shit, ads did start. All right. Chat, I'll be back in a minute. I need to go check on something because I think I heard somebody in the kitchen a second ago. So I'll see you shortly. Have fun, kids. I got another pickle. I have a problem, chats. I like my pickles too much. Beefy word for beefy skeleton? Hashtag pickle. I mean, we could just hit it with the cold crisp. I didn't know. I could not tell how well that picked up, but it is a crisp pickle. I can hear how pickly the pickle is. I can't remember who I used to I used to know somebody that had like a pickle ASMR redeem. And I was thinking about it earlier today. But now I don't remember who it was. I don't remember if it was the old bunny or if it was somebody else. Hi Crafts, how are you doing? It wasn't me. I've never had it. Maybe it was me. Was it Meeking? Me? You think it was me? It wasn't me. I've never had a pickle ASMR redeem. No, not one more. Y'all failed. Goodness, y'all failed at level 1. Which means you've lost game privileges. The only thing, Jesus. The only thing Marin has was pop.
Execute my trick.
What do you mean pop? Sunstar, you're chat too. You don't get any games. Okay, where the fuck was that going? Okay, apparently it's to do more side missions, I guess. Okay. Oh, right. We need to redeem the Magatama that we have. Right. Yeah. So the next time, now we're saving to get 44 points, 45 points. Let me have to stop the music. Oh, goodness. Sorry, I had a painful hiccup that I like stifled and made it hurt even more. Hello? Oh, see, there's the invisible dude.
They haven't seen us. Let's do it.
Gotcha, bitch. Oh, it didn't kill him.
Stay sharp. Something's here.
Is it camouflaged?
Ow. Hey, you are, you big blubbery bastard.
Yeah, just like that.
Okay.
That's it, those punks.
Go this way. Ooh. There's a cemetery right here. Oh. The night parade is going past. He was just waddling his own business. He was up to no good is what he was doing. Here, let's go check. Let's go see. Let's go to the database. It's not that. You characters? Rage Walker. Shine Dancer. Born from the sense of resignation felt by those whose desires go unfulfilled. They quickly descend from above when they spot a victim and attack relentlessly. Silent Gaze. Visitor born from confusion and anxiety of one who fears the judgmental gazes of others. They can be difficult to spot, and once they are, it's often too late for their victims. That's the boss we fought before. Okay. Chunky and goopy. He was very chunky. Are they building another plot? Also, does anybody else think Japanese graveyards are just really fucking cool? These monuments are so cool. I like death, quote unquote, culture. Because the way people like bury their dead or honor their dead differs from country to country, but it's always so interesting. Come here. Sorry, I'm also exploring the new area we unlocked, chat. Chunk maxing he was. Listen, he's doing his best, okay? He's trying his best. Open you, open you. Give me your money. Punch. Okay, I haven't found that Neko. Oh! Oh, they vanished right afterwards. Hi. Poor guys.
Yeah, next.
It's a Jesus statue in the back. Wait. And so you dead-deaded him? I did dead-dead him. He's extra dead. Oh, hello. A bathroom I can open. Oh, man. Oh, that's an A Nakamata over there? All right, hold on. Jesus statue first.
Please.
Oh, there's another one.
Hated these things.
What? You got a guilty conscience?
Where is it?
Search everywhere.
Ooh.
Spectral vision will show us where it's been.
Ow!
Feeling good.
Got it. Ow! Jesus, you were chunky. I'm a little glad those are kind of showing up by themselves right now. That's totally fine and kind of makes sense.
Do about my cherry? Take a look. See how that one's blooming red?
Oh.
I've never seen a cherry blossom tree like that. And it's the wrong season, too.
Is it a cherry blossom tree from hell?
Used to be a normal cherry blossom tree.
Time Christianity was made the religion of England, but some pagan rites were still allowed. Ooh. Wow, it's nothing. I mean, sometimes, listen, you never know with this game where they're gonna hide shit.
I just don't understand. How could this have happened?
Guess
Thank you for the heart
turned
pack.
red by absorbing blood.
What?
Did it? Is that the
You mean,
reason?
like, a corpse was buried under it?
Yeah, and I suspect the grudge from whoever's under there corrupted the tree. Other trees won't bloom until it's cleansed.
Uh-huh.
There must be a way to save my cherry blossoms.
Okay. Uh-oh.
Figured they'd show up.
Bad touch. Okay. My eye itches. Oh god, there's more! Oh shit. Oh, I clicked the wrong button again. Oh. Oh, I thought I was picking up the snacks.
That's how you do it.
Wait, there's something in here. There's actually something in the bathroom. Aha! Oh. Decoy. Feeding her? Neat.
Not much a normal gardener could do to fix this. Let's get the tree cleansed.
All right, fix the dirty tree. Add it to the wheel. Maybe soon you can get Miriam to play Minecraft with Sunstar on stream. Maybe. I could add it to the wheel. We do community Minecraft.
They're in full bloom.
Yeah, but that's, you also said that that's not the right season.
That's pretty good.
All right, buddy, what do you got to say?
To see my blossoms as they should be.
Yeah, they're gorgeous.
I'll say. I hope they can stay like this forever.
I wish to stab a bitch. I mean, you worked at a hospital. You have a lot of opportunities to stab a bitch. It's kind of part of the gig. Give you. Give both of you. Okay. And then we're going to go to the Necomata that's north here. He's like down here? It's down here. Hey, it's Hush again. You. Astral beads. We're gonna clear this corruption and then we'll do the next mission. Say, I saw you running up to me. Okay. Oh, whoops. Doink. Astral, what do you mean? Oh, it's you. I see you. Oh, shit.
I need to clear this fog to get farther north.
Search around. Gotta be a Tory gate somewhere.
Okay.
You're okay now. Do you hear a phone?
That's definitely odd.
Phone? Oh. That doesn't... Oh, never mind. It's the mission we were actually going for, but never mind, that works.
Here's how you do it.
Let me see. So my internship program is unpaid. They wanted us to pay for uniforms. It's whatever. They don't comp people's lunches. It's also whatever. They made us pay for ingredients to make charity soups that none of us got to have any of. Then we were not given the option to not do. Now they want/are forcing us to do a bake-off competition. If we win, due to the first prize being money, we're not allowed to... A part of this program, I'm literally not allowed to make money or I'll be kicked out. I'm no longer comfortable asking my parents for money, and I refuse to owe y'all money. So what now? That's fucking stupid. Why the shit would they have you come in for an unpaid internship and constantly have you invest into it and do stuff for you? For them, actually. Sorry. Have you do stuff for them that demands your own fucking... well, money in this case. It's insane. Oh, what is this? Oh my god, god damn it, shrimp.
The lone wolf stuck riding shotgun?
What?
Come on, come on,
Sorry.
let's step into the macabre halls of the Dark Carnival. And
met
please,
your roommate in there.
enjoy the show.
That's Rinko, isn't it? Magpie, how was your stream? Did you have a good time? How was the Helldivers?
Rinko. Looks like neither of us made it as worm food.
And you're still such a charmer. But I'm glad you're okay.
That's so stupid. That's completely unreasonable.
Anyway, the source of that
The
fog
phone clipping in is great. Listen, that's what I said. This game did not take into account its own goofy outfits.
How generous of you.
Don't flatter me. Just get moving.
My metal records supervisor and see if they're still looking at me for positioning opening in 2 months. Because that's stupid to demand that you like do these activities that require you to spend money without earning money is asinine.
That woman drags me right up the wall.
And then to also make you enter a competition that if you win, you can't take the money. That's insane. That just sounds like somebody who wants to fill slots in a competition because nobody else is going to participate.
Is it really so strange?
Or do they want their own people to win so they don't actually have to pay out the prize money? Regardless, it sounds like sleazebag fucking like hospital head that doesn't actually have a medical degree. Where's that going? Okay, we're not going to go to that one. We're going to go to the side mission first. Oh, hello. Shut up. Yeah. All right, now where are you? Hey, buddy. You tired? Oh, you were on a date. What the fuck? That doesn't make any sense. Granted, I told you all about the... Oh, hey, buddy. I told you about the time that I tried to get it... Uh-oh. Sorry, ma'am. I didn't realize you were there. What is that? Oh! Oh, okay. It was just two of the things right next to each other. Demands me be perfectly professional, punctual, and on time. Hasn't even shown up once, and she's the most unprofessional employed person in this loop. Christ. More dog food. Children's Sumo Tournament notice. The Neighborhood Association will once again hold an annual Children's Sumo Tournament this year. Sumo is the long-standing cultural pillar that ushers in good fortune, reminds us of our Shinto roots, and blesses our harvest. Fun fact, chat. Did you know it's forbidden for women to step into a sumo ring? It's apparently legitimately like... It has some like really misogynistic reasons behind it. Why's that ladder lighting up like that? Where are you lit up like that? Wait, where's this box? Teepee. Why can't I take the teepee? Oh, okay. Hello? Also, I think there's graffiti on the outside of this wall. Whoop! I was right.
Wonder who made it.
Spiritual injuries. No, it's because apparently in Shinto beliefs, women are unclean.
What's this about a restroom?
The park restroom's always
She needs TP. TP for hope on call.
There's only one stall.
There's 6 stalls in both bathrooms.
Holy noises.
Probably worth checking out. Could be a specter.
It's a man
Great.
absolutely shitting his brains out.
Toilet. How glamorous.
Dire Straits? No. There it is. You doing there, buddy?
That's, quite the earthly regard to hang on to there.
All right, there you go, boss.
Sorry, but you have
Way beyond the instructor's bullshit, I'm starting to get fed up with both treatment, expectations, and double standards. Good.
He needs what he needs.
That's completely
man. Just
unreasonable.
let him have it.
Is that it? More toilet paper. Oh, there's one right here. Wait, how did he go through a whole roll? How poopy is your bunghole? Somebody needs to go find that meme video of the kid that's like in the bathroom screaming, and then somebody knocks like, "Are you okay in there?" And then followed just like, "Ah!" And then
Thank you so much. Finally, I'm ready to
force the who's out as non-binary to pick a pin to wear, and then get mad when they pick the birthday boy pin.
Could have been avoided if you just checked the stall first.
Okay, but that's funny. That's kind of funny in its own way.
Thank you. The stall's finally empty.
So,
Yeah, why does the ghost have to wipe?
you can move
Also,
on,
what
right?
waste comes out of a ghost?
Yeah, you're right. Aw, but I wanted to go to the restroom.
You wanted or you had to? Okay. Also, we have a cat here that we haven't... We need to see what he's serving. There's also another cat under those stairs. Okay, we've bought takoyaki already, haven't we? Yeah. All right, gimme. Doing our job without getting booted from the program, they don't get to point at the high-functioning autistic, like making them look good anymore? Christ. Okay. So now we need to go down here, apparently. Sengoku Center building. Okay. It's this way. Actually, once we get near, I'm gonna look for a phone booth because I have over 30 right now. Also, I'm gonna get these souls. Wait a second. I knew it! You don't have a homeless shelter like this. Does not have a knickknack inside. Rashiki Netsuke, an accessory shaped like a sumo wrestler. That's two sumo-related things in this neighborhood. Is this just like an area known for sumo wrestling? Okay, I can go this way. Snack. We get to fight a sumo ghost? I don't think there's a sumo ghost. Oh no. Fuck. Fuck, fuck, fuck. Can't go this way. More dog food. Has she been strangled? Oh. Actually, I haven't. Hey, buddy. Thank you, Jesus, statue.
All right.
Don't let us down, little guy.
I was trying to lie to Queen. Chat struggles to strangle me.
The barrier between worlds weakens. Your strength breaks through walls once impenetrable, remaking the world in its wake. Behold, this great pillar of your...
Okay. Hi, kidding.
Oh, vagrant souls, gather unto me.
This is the place.
Oh.
Let's find the entrance.
And one to mark the dawn.
Okay, but I need a phone. Where's the phone?
Looks
Oh, this one like...
Rinko's here.
Oh. Hi, Rinko. It says there's like a phone like right here. Or is it down here? Well, that's not it, but I'll take it. Vending machine, phone. There's a phone icon right here. Here, maybe we'll go in front of... There's one. Use this one. The hospital's the good guy. Is it? Is it? At the end of the world scenarios, stealing if you commandeer a fighter jet from the US military, if the US military and humanity doesn't even exist anymore, no. End of the world scenario, everything's free game, baby. Everything's free game. Wait, did I not level up from that? Okay, I did. I got 20.
No good. It won't open.
Let me tell you something. Burglars tend to break in from the upper stories.
Up then.
All right, then. I see a Tingo. Hey, buddy. Is that? Oh, that's the phone. There it is right there. Guessing here. No? Not high enough? spirits here. Set in European capital featuring an uprising by the Fae. I could see it. Is this door? Nope, not this door. Maybe this way? Take that. Take the ladder. Yeah, I wish they would be making like another sequel or something of this game. But I don't think it's gonna happen. I wish they did, but it needs more people to play it and more people to talk about it for any company, whatever company owns the IP right now, to actually do something with it.
Looks like we can get in here.
Tongo. Oh, I'm full on Tongo. Hello? That was a strange sound. About volunteer hours if they aren't fucking voluntary. Also correct.
Just keep heading down for now.
Yeah, that's like companies that have like mandatory volunteer hours. Like they're like, we're like a company that likes to give back. So every quarter we'd like to have X number of like volunteer hours for each of our employees. It's like, ugh, fine, I guess, but now it feels coerced. Hello. All right, let's go into the newspaper section. Oh, there's an elevator right here. Sengoku newspaper.
Guess this is a local newspaper office.
Hello? VC Japan magazine clipping. Adventurous investor pours money into the underworld. The famous investor George Pinter recently unveiled the beneficiaries of his latest venture, proclaiming that he has invested all he could in our world. The bombastic financier revealed that he had now turned his attention to spirits, the supernatural, and the underworld. Specifically, he intends to dole out funds to business and universities investigating energies that at present lack scientific explanation. Conventional wisdom does dictate that diversifying one's investment is a good idea, but many contend that this particular venture might be a step too far. But consider, if you will, the possibility that Pinter's gamble pays off. Could this lead to us being able to speak to ghosts and the departed one day? Photo shows researcher Rinko Yakuma and her team giving an informational presentation to Pinter. Huh.
This article's talking about Rinko.
She was some kind of researcher. Ed was too.
How do you become a researcher of the paranormal and not be a laughingstock? Porter's notes. I asked the Chief of Investigation Unit 1 about the recent incidents where people in Shibuya have been vanishing without a trace, and I was told only that it's being looked into. When I pressed further and mentioned the clothing found at the scene in each case, this chief was clearly rattled. Something must be going on here. When I stopped by again the next day, it was a detective who came to speak with me. He was rude, foul-mouthed, and stubborn. He kept correcting me whenever I said the word vanishing and insisted we were dealing with simple missing persons cases.
Met Rinko's team on that case.
And that's how you all became friends?
Yeah.
Charlotte.
Mainly because I had the affinity. You and your sister probably do too. That's why you both got caught up in all this.
Elevator then?
An elevator. I guess it's not working.
No, of course, that'd be too simple. Those stairs are blocked off, which means we do have to go this way. Again, though, that like glass shattering sound is usually the sign of a like corruption section. Yeah, that's what I thought.
What's the deal? This thing busted?
Maybe there's still a way to open it.
Shutter memo. Security office on the third floor wasn't able to shed any light on the cause of the shutter malfunctions. For now, use the control panels to open them when you encounter any more issues.
That's probably it.
Okay.
Shutter here, too. Follow the cord. We should find a control panel.
That would be the sound of a bunch of things spawning in. Oh, jeez. Okay, that was a plant. Never mind. Whew! I thought that was one of the, like, flight attendant looking ladies for a second. Hello?
I see a control panel over there.
Where is it? Wall? Wait, somebody's talking? Important memo, email, work check-in URL, authentication app password. Okay.
That's a weird look.
I see your ass.
What's this thing doing here?
Thank you.
So there was another room back here.
Okay.
That was good work.
Don't mind if I do. Oh, of course. Okay. Frozen status. Continue ice damage will cause them to become frozen solid. Okay. Whew. Gimme.
Nice. That was
Ties
tense.
into a noose? Oh my god. You know what though? I could see that. That'd be very funny. Okay, that's extra.
On to the next thing.
Which means we kind of only need to level up like one more. I think. Actually, let's check. Do we have... We have 40. Okay, we need one more level. Damn it. Button.
Nice. Think I heard the shutter open. Rinko's the floor below us. Find a way down.
Oh.
You really...
To-do list. Create presentation materials for August. Sales figures. Apply to conference. Compile invoices. Reply to email from Shibura. Mercantile. Document request for expedition. Meeting question mark.
in here causing the fog?
Rinko's been researching it since before we even met. If anyone knows for sure, it'll be her.
Mayha Securities. Yes, this is in Tokyo. Hello? Give me that. Give me that. I want this Odin, please and thank you. Ooh. Totally with that one. Okay, so now we have the short way. Anything spooky going on in here? Besides people's souls being permanently stuck in the bathroom? Nothing special in here. Oh god, my nose itches. Jump scared by plants? Listen, it's fine. I'm sure that's fine. Totally normal, right? Yeah, that's not normal.
This again.
Means we're on the right track.
Tango!
Happy.
I'm thrilled.
People with an affinity for ether can sometimes see things normal people can't. Visions, in other words. It's a lot more likely to happen in places that have high ether levels.
Okay. I'm sure this is fine. Oh, hi. Oh, shit. Just pulling his ass.
Ready to roll.
Okay. Thank you, fire. Being really strong. Smack. Smack. Okay. Bam. Of course. Chat, hold my hand. I don't like the weird umbrella things. Well, yeah, but that's because you're off your psychotics. Grocery store? Woo! This doesn't feel like a grocery store. This feels more like a over-the-top supply room. All right, there's a phone here that we can use real quick. Emotional support stuffies. Oh, I don't think it's gonna be enough to level up. Is it? Oh, yes it is. Nice. Okay. So that means we have enough points to get Summon Tengu. Hell yeah.
Seems handy.
All right, that'll make it easier for us to get around in most places. Okay, this is a big room with a lot of big stuff. Oh my fucking god. Every time.
So, what's going on?
That Torii gate's only visible at a high ambient ether level. This device messes with ether levels to stop that from happening.
Wait,
so it
what?
remains
Torii
invisible.
gates?
That's how they're spreading the
How do they
power
make a
of
Torii
the
gate that's only visible under certain conditions?
Must have seen you two cleansing gates and decided to do something about it.
Great. So let's smash it and get out of here.
Sure.
That took over the wolf? Aren't they ravens?
Ether blowing up in your face. Even your
I thought they were
ability
raven men.
It needs to be shut down carefully.
Hold it. Push pause on the techie stuff. We've got company.
Of course we do. We always have company. There's always visitors abound. Ooh. Ooh.
I knew we were coming.
Yeah, that's how
Now there you go. Be deaf won't make you any better.
Can we not do this right now? KK, we need to protect Rinko.
I know. More of them incoming.
halfway there. Keep those things up.
Okay, got it.
Don't worry. It's fine.
Oh, is there another one? Oh, shit. Okay.
Keep it up. A little longer.
Hurry up, we're busting our asses here.
Oh my god.
They're coming after me. Do something.
Oh shit.
Things are there. Mow him down.
Take gun. Take gun.
How's it looking, Ringo?
That's it. Thanks for the help, boys.
Okay. Please and thank you. VTuber mashing together a bird and a wolf, is it? I always thought it was like a raven man.
So you mind telling us why you didn't mention there'd be visitors here?
Well, they had set things up so that we'd have to come deal with this machine.
Who's they?
So obviously they were gonna set a trap here. Come on, use your head.
I mean, KK's not necessarily known for using his head.
Oh,
He's the one with
me for not using my
the
head.
equivalent of superpowers.
Don't pull this shit, kid.
KK, we've got more pressing things to do.
Just talking to your hand while wearing a sushi suit. There's a crazy man. He's the last living man in Tokyo.
Anyway, thanks, Rinko.
My pleasure. Thanks for having my back.
I'm starting to wonder if I should get some screen grabs of us in the sushi suit so that I can use it for thumbnails later.
Real mature.
Save the lecture. I've got some years on you.
Then you should try acting like it sometime.
Okay.
Did something happen between you two, or what?
Gib.
Say that, she botched our whole operation. Not too thrilled about seeing her.
Oh, well, that was actually the direction I needed to go. The shrimp adds so much. Does it really? Oh, what the hell? Huh. Bug, 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 bug. Hello? Hello? Okay, I guess we're just leaving.
That's one more step forward.
Nothing else. No collectibles hiding somewhere, right? Right? Hi, Bree. Why does the logo look familiar?
See the Tory Gate now. Look for it.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Like, right down the road. Give me those. Why are the mannequins naked? What? We need to add it to Marin's Throne. Listen, if y'all found a costume like that, I would put it on Throne. And then someday I will do a cosplay stream wearing it. Oh no. All right, chat. I was gonna do this Tory Gate first, but I remember this section and it's going to take longer than I want to do right now. So this is where we're gonna call it. Let the mannequins express themselves. Oh, but they're being weird. They're naked in public. It's Japan. You know how that is. Good night, you all. No! All right. All right, guys. Let's see who's still live. We still have a couple things left this week. We have tomorrow, I believe, is tomorrow Dystopicon or is Thursday Dystopicon? Let me go see. I'm actually kind of excited for Dystopicon. That's not it. Weekly schedule. Oh no, tomorrow is Crystal. We're going to play the bloody Bioshock. But oh, Scotty ended early today. Darn. All right, who's live? Who's doing what? Grins is doing Resident Evil 7, the better of the recent Resident Evils. But I think we're going to do that. I think we're going to send y'all to Grins. A more bloody Bioshock? The weapons use blood. I'm very excited to check out the game. I have not seen any of my homies that I know played it get to the end, so I don't know if it's good enough to finish. I genuinely don't. I don't know if it's like just kind of half-assed game or anything. I have not seen any of my friends finish it. But, oh god, Grins is also a spooky, scary skeleton. All right, chat. We need a bones related. Let's do Wiggle. Don't mind us. Just stealing back British bones. All right. All right, chat. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being awesome. I will see you guys tomorrow, noon CDT. CDT? CST, where we're going to be checking out Crystal. I am kind of excited for this game. And I'm also excited for Dystopicon. I say excited. I just like simple games that are also kind of dystopian. But other than that, guys, I will see you later. Thank you for being here. Go eat something delicious. Go make something delicious. And have a wonderful night. Or I will find you. Good night.